Hello and welcome to WTHC's official vehicle guidelines for decals and anything of that sort. Um, Now, little disclaimer, I'm using the United Kingdom. This applies to all nations in game, not specific to the United Kingdom, but I'm just using the United Kingdom as a template. We're going to be covering over ground vehicles as well. So if you're here for aircraft, stick in, I'll do that part first, and then ground vehicles will be at the end of the video. Well, closer to the end. Anyway, beside the point, here we go. So, with your aircraft here, your victory marks should be roughly this size, and they should be located near the cockpit, either on the canopy itself or on the nose of the aircraft. They should never be located anywhere other than those two locations. They cannot be located over here under the exhaust. They have to be located on the nose. They should be a scroll scale of 2, so if you're going down to straight up 0 or 1, 1 is where it should be at, not 2. 2 is far too big. So you're going to want to go down straight to 0. That is perfect. And if that is too small, then scroll up 1. It should be fine, as long as they're roughly this size. Not this size, because that is far too big, and it just offsets the whole look of the aircraft. It's far too big. So keeping them to a scroll scale of 1 to 2 is fine. Notice how they're also the size of the decals line up with the little Polish lettering. They're roughly the same size. So keeping it to any sort of inscriptions or whatnot you have on the vehicle is also is a good thing, a good reference. Also, moving on, a brief touch on historical camos and whatnot. We allow them 100%, but make sure they fit the time period. Using reference images is encouraged, as it better helps us. It helps convince staff and event organizers that they were used in combat there. If we may have overmissed that, yeah. So, moving on to unit identification. So I have a blank Spitfire here. Now, this is very important, so make note of this. The first slot is to always be the unit you are in. So let's say I want to be in Unit 3. You are going to place this either here on the aircraft, midsection, here on the rear of the aircraft, or the nose. If you do not have room on the nose, which you always should, you should always go for the nose first. Matter of fact, never do here and never do here unless you do not have room on the nose to place these decals. But you always should. So, no exceptions. Scroll scale 1 up, that is perfect. This is the unit in, so I would be in Unit 3. Right there, perfect. Now let's just say I am flight leader of Unit 3. Also make sure it's dual-sided as well. I forgot to do that with the 3, but whatever. Going down to 0, going 1 up, you have flight leader. So this is Unit 3, and then this is your position in the unit. This is flight leader. This number may vary, and so this is going to be where flying alongside, flying in formation is going to be key. You're going to be able to differentiate what spot you belong in the flight. Now, as a pre-set-up example, I have a Spitfire here. This Spitfire here would be in Unit 5. He would be 4th in the squadron, and he would hold the second in command's wingman slot. Moving on to personal inscriptions and whatnot, you have this Phantom here. Now we're going to put on a pinup on this aircraft, just as a brief show off. Keeping your pinups and honestly any sort of decoration, if you have the slots available, if you have not been assigned, which all players will most likely be assigned a numerical numbering to place in your aircraft. So if your 2 slots aren't filled and you have premium and you have 2 additional, feel free to place any sort of decals, decorations, or inscriptions you would like on your aircraft. For example, on this aircraft I have a penguin. Notice how it's not overlapping on any sort of text or interfering with any sort of markings, panels, or whatnot. Try to line up your inscription with panels and whatnot, keeping it at the front of the aircraft located near the nose. So right here would be a perfect spot to place this decal. Note it's not overlapping that red text right there. Perfect. So keeping them small, keeping them very small, not this big, because if you've done it this big, you've done it wrong. Also making sure that, especially with pinups, keeping it inappropriate, as we do not want nudity or any sort of inappropriate messages displayed in our events. And if they are seen, they will be taken down and the player will be removed from most likely server and the session as well. Actions may vary. So, for example, your decal should not be this big. Not at all. Well, now that we got that clear out of the way, moving on to ground vehicles as to condense, and just note, if you have any questions at all while watching this video, staff are always available, and please DM them. Also, touching back on for ground vehicles, using reference images are encouraged, and if you have an image that you are trying to copy and replicate in War Thunder, please send that along with your screenshot to Reborn or a staff member so we can have it approved. And we can have our researchers do some background checking and looking into that to make sure it's actually historical. So this same exact thing applies for tanks, 5th Squadron. Those can be located on the rear of your tank. For Shermans and whatnot, they can be located there. Never on the barrel. Never on the barrel. See, Unit 5. And let's just say you're 4th in the squadron. Okay. Okay. Whatever, War Thunder. Okay, here we go. So you get the idea roughly about there. Scroll scale 0, going up. Best you can. Try to get it right there perfect. And having it placed right there in your vehicle. That way, whenever you're driving, other players know to look at the rear number, whether it be on this side as well. Yes, it says 45. Yes, it's different. But that is okay, because as long as they see that this number is a 5 at the rear, facing the rear. If it's placed here, they're gonna think you're in you're 5th in the unit. You don't want that. Making sure that your numbers are placed correctly, and the size is also to scale as not to take away from the aspect of the vehicle. Also, bushes of every kind are not allowed in any WTHC event unless you have them approved by staff. And staff is very, very, very strict on that and will not let that slide. Also demonstrating with any sort of MBTs as well. Let's use this. Perfect. Now, this is not something we want to see in our events. Your vehicle must be clean, completely cleaned off, no decal, no bushes whatsoever, as to really immerse players into combat and the historical theme. Same thing with this tank here, about that size, maybe one down, perfect. So you get the idea. It's pretty straightforward, not too complex, pretty easy to understand. Unit 1, 4th place in the unit, pretty simple to understand, and yeah, anyone can do it, really. So, I leave you with this. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for taking the time to participate and take part in our WTHC events. I am Reborn, and also staff really do appreciate you and thank you very much, as we couldn't do this without you, as participation is really important to us, And thank you for following our guidelines for our events to keep this historical and to keep it fun for everyone here at WTHC. Thank you very much.